Hi, I'm Jessica Lahr, and this is a look at what's happening in the Finger Lakes for the first weekend of October. After an incredible September of weather, we are finally getting our first taste of seasonable temperatures and a ton of precipitation along with it. The next few days will be a mixed bag. There shouldn't be any washout days, but everyone is likely to see some additional rain through the weekend. Daily high temperatures should hover around 60 degrees, and after fairly pleasant days on Thursday and Friday, the chance of rain increases to 50% for Saturday and Sunday. It will also get quite cool overnight with lows in the upper 40s. All in all, it might not be a bad weekend to get out and enjoy everything autumn has to offer in the Finger Lakes. And there are tons of options. The 25th National Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony is set for Saturday afternoon in Seneca Falls. FingerLakes1.com will live stream the entire ceremony beginning at 2 p.m. Watch our homepage for links to the live webcast. You can also browse directly to FingerLakes1.tv or subscribe to our YouTube channel. The 33rd Annual Ithaca Apple Harvest Festival is set to take place this weekend in downtown Ithaca, starting at noon on Friday and running through 6 o'clock on Sunday. The festival will feature plenty of apples, local produce, fresh baked goods, family entertainment, games, rides, prizes, and live music. Seneca Community Players opened their production of Dead Metaphor last weekend to rave reviews. You'll have a chance to check it out for yourself with 3 more performances set. Curtains open at the Delavan Theater at New York Chiropractic College in Seneca Falls on Friday and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. and one final show on Sunday at 2 p.m. Saturday and Sunday is Pumpkin Chunkin' at Varick Winery in Romulus from 9:30 until 6. The winery invites you to release your tensions by hurling pumpkins and trying to hit the targets. Take a guess at the weight of the winery's giant homegrown pumpkin and win a prize. The Finger Lakes Boating Museum in Hammondsport is offering a demonstration on how to winterize your boat on Saturday at 1 o'clock. The Admiral and Boat motor expert Dick Newcomb will teach the art of winterizing both inboard and outboard motors. Admission is free to museum members and $6 for non-members. The Naples Open Studio Trial is in its 14th year and is taking place on Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 5. The free event is known for drawing people from all over the region and gives a chance for the artists to invite the public into their studios to witness captivating demonstrations. Visit NaplesOpenStudioTrail.com for a map of the trail. The SPCA of Tompkins County is holding a March for Animals fundraiser on Sunday starting at 11:30 at the F.R. Newman Building at the Cornell Plantations. A picnic celebration and luncheon will follow the march for all participants and their pets. Celebrate the Erie Canal and the museum that chronicles its history at the First Lock Tenders Cocktail Party and Museum fundraiser on Friday from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Erie Canal Museum in Syracuse. The event includes wine tastings, fantastic food, a silent auction, and entertainment. Tickets are $50 per person. The Corning Museum of Glass is hosting the 34th Annual Wine Glass Marathon on Sunday. After enjoying the museum's Wine Glass Expo on both Friday and Saturday, over 6,000 runners will finish a 26-mile race starting at Corning's historic Market Street, where businesses will be holding unique wine glass-related events and opportunities. The Syracuse Orange football team is on a bye this weekend. They'll return next Saturday to face South Florida. Week 5 of the local high school football season kicks off on Friday night with Wayne Central visiting Newark, Clyde Savannah traveling to Mid-Lakes, and Victor hosting Rush Henrietta in non-league action. Penyan will host Batavia. On Saturday, Canandaigua hosts East Ridge, Pelmac is at E.R. Gananda, Waterloo is at Geneva, Lyons plays host to Minders, Marcus Whitman is in Shortsville to face Red Jacket, and South Seneca heads to Yates County to battle Dundee. NFL Sunday Football heads into Week 4, and entries to our annual NFL Pick'em contest, sponsored by Cicino's Restaurant in Waterloo and Geneva, and Finger Lakes Partners Insurance, are open through kickoff on Sunday. Pick 10 of Sunday's games every week for a chance to win a large cheese pizza. Congratulations to our Week 3 pizza winner, Mike Morabito of Geneva. It's the battle for New York as the Buffalo Bills welcome the New York Giants to Ralph Wilson Stadium for a 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday afternoon. The Bills enter the game at 2-1. We'll have all the results and analysis at our sports page or on the FingerLakes1.com app. I'll be back in less than 60 seconds with our top 5 local photos of the week and this week's highlights from FingerLakes1.tv.
So many sights to see on the internet, but for everything local, there's one place you can get it. At FingerLakes1.com. Come on over to FingerLakes1.com. Make us your homepage. News, weather, sports, and fun. Log on to FingerLakes1.
Local news from over 40 sources, custom local weather, over 10 hours of live broadcasts and podcasts every week on your computer, tablet, television, or smartphone. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
www.fingerlakes1.com. Come on and join the fun. Log on to FingerLakes1.
www.fingerlakes1.com.
This week we feature 5 more great local photos from the last several days in the Finger Lakes. At number 5, Robert Stopper sent in this shot of the historic tugboat Urger, a 114-year-old New York State Canal boat that was docked under the lights in Newark late last week. In the 4th spot, Fred Bertram captured this adult bald eagle as he took in the view of the main pool at Montezuma National Wildlife Refuge. At 3, Rachel Burkholder caught the first fall sunset, which was a colorful one, and these leaves had a tint of color by Seneca Lake south of Sampson State Park on Thursday. At number 2, Shelley Lannon captured this red-tailed hawk taking off toward a newly plowed field in Clifton Springs on Thursday. And finally, check out our photo of the week. Deanna Lawrence captured the scene nearing sunset on Sunday evening at Long Point State Park on the eastern shore of Cayuga Lake in Cayuga County. You can check out all these photos and many more and learn how to share your own local photos with our users here at FingerLakes1.com by visiting our local photos page on our homepage or app. We received a bunch of lunar eclipse and blood moon photos from Sunday night that can be seen at our photos page. Rachel Burkholder sent us a series of shots of the moon on Sunday night that we'll share with you in this video gallery. Thank you for those beautiful photos, Rachel. Next, a look at what's playing in local theaters. During a manned mission to Mars, astronaut Mark Watney, played by Matt Damon, is presumed dead after a fierce storm and left behind by his crew. But Watney has survived and finds himself stranded and alone on the hostile planet in The Martian, which opens on Friday night and is showing at the Geneva Movieplex, the Auburn Movieplex 10, the Omen Theater in Lyons, Lake Street Plaza in Penn Yan, Canandaigua Theaters, and Eastview Mall. Also playing locally this weekend is Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, Black Mass, which is the story of former mobster James Whitey Bulger, Hotel Transylvania 2, and The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. For a rundown of all the movies playing this weekend, along with showtimes at the theaters closest to you, click on Movie Times at our homepage or on the FingerLakes1.com app. If you missed it on FingerLakes1.tv this week, legendary Geneva restaurateur Bill Legott was in studio as a guest on Healthy Cooking with Jim and Marilyn Barrow on Tuesday, where he shared the origins of what has now become a restaurant business. That includes Club 86, my favorite, Torrey Park Grille, Abigail's in Seneca Falls, and Bagels and Cakes and more.
Foremost, welcome, Billy.
Thanks, Jeff.
And we've known each other for a good number of years.
Long time.
And he Torrey Park, which used to be Pronti's.
Correct.
And right across the street is Club 86. That has been going on for how many years?
Well, the Club 86 actually probably about 70 years now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
right.
even before that, my grandparents was there, and my grandparents followed the Lehigh Valley Railroad
Yes.
up
Right.
from Pennsylvania,
All right.
and my grandmother, who was the businesswoman of the family, decided to make her homestead right where Club 86 is now, because she had word that they were going to be building the Lehigh Valley there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the story goes that they built the house, and my grandmother and grandfather ran a little restaurant bar, and they used to service all the people on the railroad, the railroad workers, the people laying the tracks
Right.
and whatnot. And the funny story that Nick Mass used to tell, that my grandfather used to sell a ham sandwich and a draft beer, and it used to cost a nickel.
Oh my goodness.
And Nick would wait a few minutes when he told the story, and then he would say, and he made money doing it. So I think that's where it all started.
I think it is
You know.
because that's what his grandfather did, was bring the railroad workers up, and he's,
And that was right in Torrey Park,
it was
where
right
your
in the
grandparents
Lehigh
were.
Valley Railroad Station.
Right.
That
Yeah,
was
well,
right
he
there.
would go over to Italy, bring his paisans over here, said, I got a job for you working on a railroad. He says, I'll put someplace up for you to live in. I'll feed you, and we'll go from there. Well, what started the whole
Right.
thing.
So they really were working side by side for the
It
Italian community.
was a great little Italian neighborhood, and everybody took care of each other and watched out for each other. And
Right.
that's the way my father grew up. He was the youngest of 10,
Oh my
and
goodness.
he was the only one in his family that was fortunate enough to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I guess, in the 40s, the late 30s and the 40s.
And your father is the one that came up with the famous Jimmy's Chicken, right?
That's correct.
I know what Jimmy's Chicken is. I love Jimmy's Chicken. Let's tell the people what Jimmy's Chicken is.
Well, it goes just way back. My dad, over the years that he was in the business, from the nightclub business, there was always parties. He always did parties at the club. And in the beginning, my father always liked staying in the back of the house, working in the kitchen. So there's people over the years that he was fortunate enough to work with, a lot of good chefs. I can't remember all their names, but there used to be a chef from the Hotel Seneca I remember my dad talked a lot about. I know that Emil Janes worked with my dad
Yeah,
in the
he was-
beginning.
Yeah,
So there was a lot of good people that came through Club 86 as employees.
yeah.
And I think my father learned a lot from all of them.
Yeah.
And he always had a knack for doing things in the back of the house.
Yeah.
And that's where Jimmy's Chicken came out of. He just
Jimmy's Chicken is a half a chicken that is cooked so that when you eat it, it falls off the bone. and it's got lots of flavor to it, and I remember that every time. I always.
Well, we
always
just
want-
had a Del Papa reunion
And we
at
had
Torrey
Jimmy's Chicken.
Park, and
Right.
part of the biggest part of the menu, because that's what they all remembered, was Jimmy's Chicken.
Well, the biggest thing, as you said, is it's cooked. It falls off the bone.
It does.
And I can remember a wedding when I was 10 bar one time, and one of the guests complained that her chicken wasn't cooked. And my father, in a very nice way, you know, in his apron and his T-shirt, came out of the kitchen, wanted to know where the guest was, and he walked over, and he picked her chicken off the plate and wiggled it, and all the meat fell off it. He says, that chicken's been in the oven for like 5 hours. He said, it's cooked, but there was a little red mark by the leg there that she thought was but he, you know, and they laughed, you know, they laughed about
Sure.
it.
Well, I sure can remember Club 86 and back when it was a nightclub, and you know, the famous people that would come here. That was back in Sampson's
Oh, in
day.
Sampson's Day, they did.
And
it was a
Geneva,
wine
you know, my dad used to tell the story about, you know, from 1947 when the Club 86 opened, the Club 86, now Legott's restaurant, when he built the 5,000 square foot room, it was prior to television.
Yes.
And the way that these entertainers used to sell their records is travel the country.
Yes.
Right.
And they used to catch the Lehigh Valley Railroad out of New York City, and they would come up through the Catskills and wherever in Syracuse, eventually
Right.
Geneva, and move right up into Toronto.
Right.
Okay.
And my dad used to catch them coming through. And he hooked up with people in New York. It was a big agency, still famous today, the William Morris Agency.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of those contracts were people that were, you know, through the William Morris Agency, and they were playing all the clubs from New York City, the Catskills, Syracuse.
Yeah, and
all the
Syracuse
way
had
to
Three
Toronto.
Rivers. That was another club that was close.
And Geneva at the time, because of the Army and the Air Force,
Right.
or the Navy and the Air Force, I mean, 7 nights a week, everybody was doing business.
Right.
They were out. They were busing people to Syracuse and Rochester because Geneva couldn't handle it.
And they had people like Tony Bennett,
Tony Bennett,
Louis Armstrong.
Buddy Rich.
Yeah.
My dad said when Buddy Rich played the club, he was 17 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And he was so, I mean, when he had to pay him, he couldn't even pay, he had to pay his aide and handle all the money for him.
Right.
But he was just a kid starting out. And Tony Bennett, when he played the club, that was before his big hit song came out, I guess. I left my heart in San Francisco. Now I'm
Right.
telling these stories from people telling me.
Right,
Right.
but aren't they
I could be a little bit
wonderful
wrong on some of the
Yeah,
things.
but isn't it, those are wonderful memories. They really
Did
are.
Frank Sinatra play?
No, not
Nope.
Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
But a lot of big names.
Yeah.
Louis Armstrong,
Yeah,
Nat King
great.
Cole.
Congratulations to the crew of the Crash
that might
Course
have-
podcast who posted their 100th episode on Monday night and have become the most popular Demolition Derby podcast in the country with thousands of views and episode downloads. Here's a clip from the 100th Crash Course.
We're true derby guys,
Yeah.
and I think that's the
And
connection.
that helps.
Yeah,
Yes.
no
we're
doubt.
not a bunch of posers. That
I got
basically,
stitches to prove it.
You know,
Yes, you do.
not posers. You know, we're not.
No, we've done it.
We've
And
kinda
all of
done
us
that.
do something else. Like, to be honest,
Yeah.
I love how, like, you're kind of like the hard ass, the inspector. I love when you swear. You know, Brian's more like the guy that shows up once in a while. You know, and then Chris is like in charge of everything. You know, and then I'm comic relief. You know, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Yeah, it's funny. You know what? Like, we've had a bunch of people on that have helped us. Like Jake. Like Jake is really. And let's be honest. There's been days where we could not do it as
Yeah.
a group, and Jake jumped in, and it's been good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been cool that
Jake's
somebody.
helped Donnie Hartzell and
Donnie
Austin
Hartzell's-
Hartzell. Andy Lee's run cameras for us live.
And
Christy
Todd
King
Height.
jumped in. Todd Height, can't miss him.
I think it's cool when people do that. You know, it's like,
yeah.
I know our knit is like, we feel weird about our knit because we've been together so long. But then when people come in, it's like, you know what? It's good to hear somebody else. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I like listening to Jake actually. You know,
I just want him to stop leaning out of the camera shot. Just one.
There's times I don't want to be on because I don't want to be.
Ben, people want to hear what you're saying.
No, there's times you don't want to hear what I want to
Yes,
say.
no, that's when you think that. That's exactly what they want to hear.
No. But
Last shot. Get on there.
anyway.
Donate. Last shot. Get on there. Donate to Team Martin. I know we got a couple
Do
more.
it.
Couple more of them that just popped in. It looks like we are up over $250. I know.
Thank you.
It's, I know.
Awesome.
I know it's not $1 million, but I mean, Jeremy, it's better than nothing. We wanted to do something to help you. Also, those Team Martin shirts are available. Celebrating episode number 100. I know we got another 100 in us for sure. No question, no doubt. That's going to do it for this edition, and here's to many more. Thanks so much for the continued support, and we'll see you right back here with episode number 101 on FingerLakes1.tv next week.
On Tuesday morning, Kenny Haas talked about his visit to the Naples Grape Festival and his impression of the wind turbines that dot the landscape in the Naples Valley and Cohocton.
I do also want to say one more thing about things that are going on last weekend and this weekend. But I'm kind of worried about the area where it's happening. This past weekend, the Naples Grape Festival happened, and it's always a great thing down there in that sleepy little town just south of Canandaigua Lake. And this weekend is the Cohocton Fall Foliage Festival, 10 miles southwest of Naples. But the thing that worries me is the aesthetics of the countryside. Seems as though all those pesky windmills have popped up all over the place. And you know, people are kind of in between about those things. Yeah, we gotta find alternative sources of energy, and we are trying to harness the wind and trying to harness the sun, especially with the big boom in solar panels that are around. But you know, those windmills don't exactly add to the countryside. Naples and Cohocton, especially in that valley, it's beautiful during the fall with all those colors on the hillsides. But do you need a 300-foot tall windmill on top of those hills? You know, they're big, ugly things, and those blades. And of course, down there is some prime hunting area for deer. And you know, those windmills do make a lot of noise. Those whooshing.
Check out all of this week's episodes at FingerLakes1.tv or on the Finger Lakes 1 TV tab on our app. All of our audio programming is also streaming in rotation on Finger Lakes 1 Radio. Thanks for joining me for another episode of FLX Weekly. For FingerLakes1.com, I'm Jessica Lahr. Enjoy your first weekend of October in the Finger Lakes.